First airing on Fuji TV on May 20th, 2004, and lasting for an impressive 26 episodes until its conclusion on March 19, 2005. This anime, directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, paired with a wonderful myriad of soundtracks, masterfully tells the adventures of three characters, Jin, Mugen, and Fu. But let's forget about all of that for a second. Let's think about the guy who started this journey, Mugen. Right from his debut, it was obvious what role he was supposed to play as a character. In recent times, the vagabond has become more and more widespread in anime, unlike earlier in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And during the initial stages was a good thing. Eventually, the role became more and more generic, and soon, its importance questionable. But among the men setting out the vagabond, there are few characters who demonstrate what the vagabond should be, or define what the vagabond was supposed to be. And that leads me to the topic of discussion for this video. A character who does both. Mugen. Right from the moment we saw him, there was quite a lot to deduce about his character. He was very selfish, prideful, irresponsible, carefree, gluttonous, mischievous, lazy, and he always acted first and never thought later. This is quite a lot to find out about a character in the first episode, and nowadays that's pretty much it about them. But for Mugen, that was just the beginning. There's so much more. These attitudes were highlighted in the episodes that followed, like in episode 2, where instead of helping Jin out organize their place for the night, since they couldn't afford a decent one, and to also discuss what they're going to do about Fu getting missing. At the prospect of free sex, rather ran off and made out with a random woman he had met the same day, resulting in him getting poisoned. His last really having the time to shine in episode 8, where he spotted a very attractive woman at an eatery, and with his companion Jin, ditched Fu and followed the stranger to a bar, where they had many drinks until they passed out. Yeah, they were robbed. Looks like he didn't learn from the last time at all. This would be all we would get to see of Mugen until on their search for the Sunflower Samurai, Mugen and Co find themselves on an island. There, Mugen meets two vital pieces of his past, Koza and Mukuro. Despite this, when Koza tried to talk about the past with Mugen, when they used to stargaze together, he dismissed this topic entirely, opting to just run away from it. But despite his reluctance to rekindle old flames, he accepted Mukuro's offer to help him raid the government ship. But in a horrible yet expected twist of fate, Mugen was betrayed and left for dead by Mukuro in a horrible explosion. Sinking to his death, he had his life flash before his eyes, recounting all the events he had between Mukuro and Koza. A short duel between Mukuro as Mugen was surrounded by flames, the stargazing scene with Koza, in which they were promptly interrupted by Mukuro proposing that they raid a cargo ship full of sugar and use that to get off the island, clearly indicating that this wasn't the first time Mugen had been betrayed. This mission was going well until Mugen was thrown off the ship and presumed dead. He survived and was later seen cornered by some Satsuma guards at the edge of a cliff. Denying his death at their hands, he jumped off of the cliff. It is then discovered that Mukuro had set him up from the start. The flashback ended there and Mugen woke up. After being nursed to the point that he could move, he immediately went after Mukuro for one thing, revenge. On his quest for vengeance, he encountered Jin and it was revealed to him that Mukuro was dead. At first, Mugen was angry that Jin took away his only chance to atone for his sins. Mugen, about to show how much he meant to him, was exposed to a whole new world by Jin instead.
I was deceived. We were all played like a fool, as was he.
Then something in him clicked. He knew what really had to be done. As Koza was leaving with Shiren to paradise, she saw something impossible in the distance. It was Mugen. Shiren immediately sensed the danger in the situation and charged, ready to strike down Mugen when he was at his weakest. But, as a result, met his inevitable fate. With Shiren dead, Koza knew she was about to meet the same fate. She had no one to protect her, no one to lie to. She was done for. But Mugen spared her. Why would he do that though? Then it hit her. She was alone, this time for good. And even worse, this was exactly what he wanted. At the start of the arc, Mugen was the same as when we first met him, always refusing to accept the cause of his pain, be it himself or someone close to him, all in a futile attempt to free himself of the guilt that slowly welled up within him. But after almost dying a second time due to this behavior, he was finally getting ready to settle things for good.
I was deceived. We were all played like a fool, as was he.
Full faithful words. He was struck by hopelessness. Now what was he going to do to redeem himself? Then he really understood why he was like this. He had to solve things at the root of it all. When Mugen left Koza stranded, it signified him finally confronting and leaving behind what had caused him to be so lost in the known from the start. He had finally taken responsibility for all his bad decisions, and now with the past where it belongs, he can take his time and focus on the future. Mugen's journey is one of self-realization, understanding, and acceptance, where he mustn't shun the darkness in our hearts, but confront and part ways with it, because nobody can run forever.